Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome into the Phoenix Sports Podcast, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcast, and leave us a 5-star review. It's the girls. It's Mac and it's Chierstin. Chierstin, we're in the new studio, finally.
Hey, new look for us. For the last show that's gotten the opportunity to use the studio, but man, the wait was well worth it.
I'm mildly offended, but it's fine. They save the best for last, as they say. But we have to say a huge thank you to More Furniture for hooking up our new studios with this amazing furniture. The studios look amazing. If you guys haven't seen our studio tour video over on our Instagram account or any of the pictures on our Twitter account, go check those out. Our friends at More Furniture really hooked us up. The furniture is beautiful and is the perfect complement to our studio space. And if you're looking for furniture for your home, go check out their fall sale going on right now at morefurniture.com. Woo!
Things are comfy too.
Yeah, very comfy. I'm all settled in.
All right.
We're so glad you guys are joining us. So welcome into the show. Everyone in the comments, we're glad to see you. Make sure you comment along with us during the whole show so we can include your thoughts and opinions as well.
I'm glad we have these comfy chairs to sit in because we have an uncomfortable conversation to have. We've been having it all week as a community, as a company here at PHNX, and that is the news surrounding Suns owner Robert Sarver, who was fined $10 million and suspended a year following the NBA's investigation into allegations of workplace abuse, which included racist and misogynistic behavior. So that happened on Tuesday, and the story continues to unfold throughout the week and will continue to unfold as well. I'm sure we have not seen the full fallout from this, not even close. So we're going to get into kind of how this storyline has progressed, with people continuing to speak out, who has spoken out. But first, I want to give us an opportunity to get up on our soapbox. Makayla, you can go first, and just get off our chest what we need to get off.
Just sad. I'm sad for the employees of the Phoenix Suns that had to go through everything that they endured, that we all learned about through this investigation. This report was really hard for me to read because I empathize so heavily, especially with the women that work for the team. Working in sports, it's not glamorous as many people may assume. The schedule is grueling. Nights, weekends, holidays, the positions are very often underpaid. And yet that's something we all sign up for because for many of us, working in sports is a dream. And unfortunately, for many people in the Suns organization, that dream turned into a nightmare. I cannot imagine what it was like to have your dream taken and ruined by the owner of the team. Someone with so much money, power, and influence that not even his own HR department was willing to truly expose and report what was happening behind the scenes. Robert Sarver had a duty to the organization he owns to create and foster a safe and productive environment, and he failed. He failed every single person in that organization for multiple reasons. The human resource department failed them, and the league failed them. I commend each and every person who was brave enough to step up and speak out against the racist and misogynistic behavior that they witnessed. I know it wasn't easy, and for many of them, their dream of working in sports was ruined forever. And to them, I say this: you did the right thing. Accountability these days is rare, and even though the league didn't deliver the justice that was owed, you still held Sarver accountable, and that's what matters.
Yeah, well said. I think I echo a lot of your points. My mind doesn't immediately get drawn towards what was handed down as punishment. It's more so just feelings of empathy towards all the employees that had to endure his behavior. And I would like to encourage everyone who has any sort of an opinion on the entire situation to make sure you go and actually read the report of the investigation's findings, because I had formulated an opinion already based on things that had been said and leaked in different articles and things like that before the report came out. So I felt like I had a good idea of exactly what went on. And boy, was I wrong. It stopped me in my tracks, jaw on the ground, when I was reading the details of that report. It was far worse than I imagined. And so I'm not going to sit here and say, the NBA got it right or they got it wrong with the punishment. Adam Silver came out and said that he couldn't take the team away from him. And I think anything less than that is not going to suffice for most people. So, how do you even put a punishment that fits the crime in this situation anyways? How do you punish somebody for probably the large amount of trauma that he's caused, hundreds of people at this point? Like, how do you put a price on that? So, I don't want to worry too much about the punishment, as more so just saying my heart goes out to all the people who are walking around with trauma, with false narratives about who they are and their worth in the workplace because of the way that they were treated and the narratives that were created under Robert Sarver's culture. My heart goes out to every single one of them. And my hope is that others don't lose hope, lose faith in the Suns as a whole. Anyone who's worked for a sports team or an organization or worked in sports, don't lose hope that, that this is how everybody is. And that we continue to hold him accountable. I hope that Robert Sarver knows and feels the pain that he has caused to others because of his, inappropriate sense of humor at times and lack of, thinking about anybody else except for himself. So, my hope, I guess, is just that, everybody who worked for the Suns, endured any of this, that they are supported and that our hearts do go out to them, and their opinions, what they went through, is not being dismissed, and that Robert Sarver genuinely, not just oh, this is BS, I may have done these things, and I'm just gonna take my gear, and everybody else can, they're over dramatizing this or what. I hope that he genuinely realizes the effect that he had on so many people's lives. And that, man, it's just at what point do you stop saying we need to be better? This guy needs to be held accountable. And I hate it for our entire community and for the Suns organization, because the team brings so much joy to the community. And to have something like this now looming over anybody that's connected to that franchise in any way it just sucks. And so, yeah, that's all I have to say. We're going to get into the fallout of it, but I felt like we just needed to step on that soapbox and get some things off our chest to start.
Yeah, absolutely. I think both you and I share the sentiment that our hearts go out to the employees, and we commend you for what you did and how you spoke up, because speaking up is the hardest thing to do. But I think hopefully what we see from this, and for especially the employees there, is some sort of change. And I know change is hard and it's not easy and it might take time, but more than anything, that I hope that what they did is rewarded with a better environment for them, because nobody deserves to feel demeaned. Nobody should be spoken that to in the way that Sarver spoke to them. It is unacceptable on every level. And I just hope that we see change, because they deserve the change. And like I said, the crowd.
And it's far worse. Again, if you have not read the report, go read it. It is far worse than just words that were spoken. It's really jacked up, some of the stuff that went on. Chris makes a good point. This is about Merck as well. Don't forget that he is also the owner of the Phoenix Mercury, and a lot of employees are, they obviously are in the same environment. And so whether it's about the Suns or the Phoenix Mercury, they both were under the same ownership here. So it's important to also remember all of the Mercury employees as well.
Yeah.
All right. So we've continuously seen people, entities begin to come out and speak out against the league punishment. Again, that was a year suspension and a $10 million fine. That fine was the maximum amount that Adam Silver could hand down. And he, kind of defended his punishment, saying that was, I don't have the right to take away the team. And that was pretty much the most that we could do. So obviously people feel that the NBA missed the mark on this. LeBron James tweeting, read through the Sarver stories a few times now. I got to be honest, our league definitely got this wrong. I don't need to explain why. Y'all read the stories and decide for yourself, or read the stories and decide for yourself. I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. There's no place in the league for that kind of behavior. And then he goes on to say there's no place for misogyny, sexism, racism in any workplace. Doesn't matter if you own the team or play for the team. We hold our league up as an example of our values, and this ain't it. Chris Paul came out and tweeted about it as well. Obviously, he's the Phoenix Sun and one of the faces of the Players Association over the entire NBA. So for him to speak out was pretty big. Like many others, I reviewed the report. I was and am horrified and disappointed by what I read. This conduct, especially towards women, is unacceptable and must never be repeated. I am of the view that sanctions fell short in truly addressing what we can all agree was atrocious behavior. My heart goes out to all the people that were affected. So Players Association, Mayor Kate Gallego of Phoenix, as along with city council members, have spoken out. Jam Najafi, who's a minority team owner, has since spoken out. And then PayPal, I think, is the first of probably not the last, who have come out and said they're not renewing their contract if Sarver remains the owner of this team. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think we've seen even the beginning of all of this.
Yeah, I think this is just the beginning. And I'm really, really glad that there are players in the league that are speaking out, because I think it shows, like LeBron said, like, this is the organization that like they represent. And if they're not happy with something that's going on, like they need to speak out and they need to speak up. And I mean, LeBron is the king of the NBA right now. And so to have him say something, to have Chris Paul say something, a player who is very important to this team, who is a leader for this team, who is a player under Sarver, speak out, is also incredibly important. And I think it just goes along with the theme of what we've been talking about this whole segment, is that, you know, the people that are speaking out, your voices matter. For too long, Sarver operated this way in silence, and he had the power. And by speaking out, it's a way to take that power back. And they have a right to speak out, especially if they don't think that what the league did was enough to punish Sarver. Like PayPal coming out now and saying that they're not going to have their sponsor patches on the jerseys if Sarver is the owner, I think is huge. Like, talk about putting your money where your mouth is. Like, that's PayPal saying, look, we're not standing for this type of behavior in this environment, and we're willing to take away our sponsorship if that doesn't change. So like you said, I don't think this is the first. I think this is just the beginning of a very long list of people that are going to come out and say something, because they should. This needs to be spoken up about. We can't be okay with this. We can't just look at it and say it is what it is. Like, things need to change. They have to change. And just being complacent and standing by isn't enough. People need to speak out. People need to say stuff, because he needs to be held accountable even more than what the employees have done already. So I don't think it's the last time we're going to be seeing, whether it's organizations or players, speak out against what's happening here.
So I want to get into exactly what Mayor Kate Gallego tweeted out, because she seems to be seeking if there's anything more that she can do as well, or the city of Phoenix can do. Of course, expressing that she's appalled by the actions substantiated in the investigation, and, you know, just mentioning that the lack of organizational safeguards to protect the victims of these acts and hold their perpetrators accountable is disappointing, but then goes on to say that the actions outlined in this report do not represent the values of this city. We call on the NBA to take action required to ensure the behavior is stopped and to reform culture that allowed the actions to occur. And then also that she is going to seek to see if there's anything that the city can take. And Espo tweeted out yesterday, you know, mentioning that, you know, there was money that was poured into renovating the arena to be what it is now. I mean, is there something that the city of Phoenix can do? And so that's a big deal for them to come out, that with mayor and then city council members as well, that came to formulate this press release and make a huge statement.
Yeah, I mean, it's vital. It reminds people too that, like, even if you aren't working for the Suns or a part of the Suns organization in that sense, like, you still have a say in this, because you live in the city of Phoenix, and a part of what the money that you pay for of your taxes went to help renovate the arena. So, like, everybody who is here has a voice in this problem and should be, you know, saying something, because it affects everybody, even if you're not directly involved with the organization. It truly does.
So one more thing to get to, this was kind of the latest person that we heard from, and that is minority owner Jam Najafi, as I mentioned. he sent out a letter to Phoenix Suns employees, an open letter, and says, due to the NBA's investigation and findings, I have no choice but to speak up on behalf of the hundreds of you that have been impacted by your interactions with Robert Sarver and resulting investigation of his conduct. I first and foremost want to give my deepest thanks to all of you who garner the courage to share your experiences, as difficult as it may have been, to help piece together a clearer picture of what work life must have been like for you over these past 18 years. Similar conduct by any CEO, executive director, president, teacher, coach of any other position of leadership would warrant immediate termination. The fact that Robert Sarver owns the team does not give him a license to treat others differently than any other leader. The fact that anyone would find him fit to lead because of his ownership position is forgetting that NBA teams belong to the communities they serve. Team investigators are merely temporary stewards. Team investors are temporarily stewards. If we as sports leaders are not held to the same standards, then how can we expect a functional society with integrity and respect on any level? We owe it to you, employees, players, partners, and your families to provide the same positive workplace environment we would require of any other business. I cannot, in good judgment, sit back and allow our children and future generations of fans think that this behavior is tolerated because of wealth and privilege. Therefore, in accordance with my commitment to helping eradicate any form of racism, sexism, and bias, as vice chairman of the Phoenix Suns, I am calling for the resignation of Robert Sarver. While I have no interest in becoming the managing partner, I will work tirelessly to ensure the next team steward treats all stakeholders with dignity, professionalism, and respect. So you have your first person connected with the Phoenix Suns, a minority owner who is calling for Robert Sarver's resignation. So that might be the strongest statement that we have seen come out this week so far.
Yeah, I mean, geez, he did not mince any words in that statement. He made it very clear what he stands for and what he would like to see happen. And good on him. I hope the other stakeholders and minority owners of this team, including Larry Fitzgerald, come out and say something about this, because I don't see a world, unless a ton of sponsors pull out, where a changing of the tide in terms of ownership happens, unless more of these people who have considerable stakes in this team come out and say something. So I hope he was just one of the first dominoes that will fall in terms of the managing partners and the minority stakeholders that will come out and also request for a change of leadership, because I think that's the fastest path to getting Sarver out as owner. And at this point, I think that's what needs to be done. I don't think Sarver should own the team anymore. I don't want to see him as the owner of the team anymore. And come hell or high water, whatever has to happen, it needs to happen, because I think it's time that the Suns have a new owner.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. For some reason, I remain hesitant. I feel like he needs to take accountability, responsibility, and there be repercussions for this. I think that there is still potentially, I mean, I don't think other people are going to allow it. I think there's going to be so much pressure on him to resign that eventually that's just what's going to have to happen. Because I don't know if there's a way for him to get back into good graces with the community, with stakeholders, I don't know. I don't know that there's like a redemption story to be had and for him to remain the owner of the Phoenix Suns. I am not going to call for him to no longer be the owner of the team. Simply because I always want to make sure that I give leeway for there to be some amount of grace to change your ways. And again, I'm not saying that that is even possible at this point, but for sure, probably more, if not, his resignation needs to happen in response to all of this. And the big question that's looming right now, too, that goes kind of hand in hand with all of this. Obviously, it's not more important than the trauma that has happened due to his actions, but what does this mean for the Phoenix Suns as a team, as we are a couple of weeks away from them beginning training camp and heading into a season? Is this going to be something that looms over the team? And, that's another conversation that could continue on. Is this going to bleed into, do these players want to play for the Phoenix Suns if Robert Sarver remains team owner? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think, nobody truly knows except for the players in the locker room. Obviously, the news of this broke during last season while they were playing. And to me, they did a good job of managing on the court and off the court stuff. So I'm sure that trend will continue. It probably will also be easier going out on the court knowing that Robert, at least for now, is suspended for a year and won't be there and, won't be in charge of making some decisions for at least a year. So hopefully that kind of eases their minds a little bit. But I mean, I'm all for forgiveness, but he can work on himself and not be the owner of the Phoenix Suns. So I'll just leave it at that.
All right. Well, always, it's never easy to transition out of a tough conversation like that. But we do want to make sure that we let you know about one of our sponsors here at PHNX, which is Game Time, the hottest new ticketing site that makes it easier than ever to score the best deals on tickets to sports events, to concerts, to shows. Mac, we're going to a concert next weekend. I kind of wish that we would not have bought the tickets in advance and used Game Time. I didn't even think about it.
We didn't use Game Time.
I know. I think about it every time I think about Game Time. We had a mutual friend buy the tickets. Had it been me that bought them, I would have said, okay, let's check Game Time and let's push the ticket purchase back a little bit so that we could take advantage to up to 60% off on tickets when you buy them last minute. It is great for all the procrastinators out there, but also anybody just looking for a good deal. Nobody really likes to pay full price, especially when it comes to the price of admission to sporting events, to concerts, to shows, things like that. So if you love PHNX, you're going to love Game Time as well. We certainly do. It is the best way to support us. It's to buy your tickets through the link in the description. That goes for Cardinals games, ASU games, upcoming Suns games when their season kicks off. Anything that you might purchase tickets for, Game Time is your place.
Speaking of our mutual friend buying our tickets,
Carl, I just threw you under the bus.
But yes, make sure you click that link in the description to get your tickets. You can get them to anything that Chierstin mentioned. We highly recommend it because you'll save a lot of money. But Chierstin, we need to do a temperature check on the Arizona Cardinals because good God almighty, what was that game? The season did not get off to the start that we were hoping for, Chierstin, to say the least.
It was pretty bad. It was unwatchable and unfortunate. The other unfortunate thing was that Seattle was the only NFC West team to win in their season opener. So that's a whole other story in and of itself. But yeah, I mean, whether it was lack of preseason snaps, which is a big narrative, at least around media that's speaking about the performance, or practicing the right way with attention to detail, which is more of the internal conversation. At least what the team is telling us. I don't know what they're telling themselves, but what the team seems to be telling local media is that, it just like we weren't practicing the right way. We weren't paying enough attention to detail, as if that's going to really turn things around and get them on the right track, because their issues far surpass any sort of practicing habits, in my opinion. Although, sure, maybe that's something that you can shore up, but you still have players missing and other situations that are going to be very concerning moving forward as they play the Raiders this weekend. So it's, it kind of hits you right in the face because you're so excited for this team and have such high hopes, and you've got guys on new contracts, including Kyler, and heading into this season, at least for the season opener, I think we all were like, whoa, I didn't think they were going to win that game, but I didn't think it was going to be like this. And so it was jarring to see. And now we don't know what's going to happen.
But then after I digested the loss a little bit more, I took a step back and I was like, that was kind of predictable because, you already mentioned that they talked about we weren't prepared in practice, blah, 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 blah. But I really think that game was a culmination and the evidence of the terrible offseason that the Cardinals had, and the fact that Steve Keim sat on his hands during the offseason and didn't acquire the help that they needed at so many different positions on this team. I think they're lacking positional depth in key areas, obviously the secondary being one of them. I think, there was obviously very much evidence of unpreparedness on the field. I don't really think Isaiah Simmons knew what was going on the entire time during that football game. Neither did Zaven Collins. So, I think, I had my hopes high to start the season, and I think it was a little bit unrealistic because I think if you take a step back, you can kind of see the holes in this team for what they are. And I don't really know how it's going to get any better. Trayvon Mullen is still out for this game. So once again, we're going to be seeing Isaiah Simmons all over the field, unfortunately. And it's unfortunate. I think it was a gut check that I don't know if it's going to get better anytime soon. Obviously, I think, the Chiefs as an opponent are a monster. Obviously, we saw that again on Thursday Night Football. So credit where credit is due. The Chiefs are a great football team, and hopefully, some adjustments can be made to address some of those glaring holes in positions. But I mean, geez, holy cow, I'm feeling much less optimistic, as you can tell.
Yeah, I mean, one of my big takeaways was the disappointing performances by former first-round draft picks Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins. Isaiah Simmons, rough game. And as you mentioned, Trayvon Mullen is still out, and that forces Isaiah Simmons to play a role that is not his typical strength, and that's slot corner. And so there's nothing they can really do about it. In addition to, he's wearing the green dot, which is something that green dot. It's like, I'm sick of hearing about that, but he's still trying to figure out how to be that guy and also play in a position that is not his best position to play. Now, he came in as this Swiss Army knife, so you could say, well, if he's that guy, he should be able to play anywhere on the defense. That's what he was pitched as, no? But he's obviously has only progressed so far. And if he should be playing in a different position, and he cannot because of depth issues, that was something that should have been addressed. Obviously, nobody could have anticipated that Antonio Hamilton would have had this sort of freak accident that he had. But, we knew all along heading into this season, you got to address the depth at corner. And when stuff like this happens, you have a freak accident. I mean, it could have been a freak accident in practice, and then you've got, one of your other depth pieces in Trayvon Mullen down too. It's just like, you have to move guys around. And unfortunately, there is no quick fix for that because you just don't have the personnel. Another issue that's, going on the offensive side of things is Rondale Moore is still out. They've got 4 receivers. Andy Isabella was injured working out. And so now, even the weapons that you have on offense, you're limited with because, whether injuries or suspensions and things like that. So, as I mentioned, I don't think practice, even though good weeks of practice are essential, is going to cure what the issues are on this team. JJ Watt is supposed to make his season debut, which is good. Glad to have him back. But I don't know that JJ Watt at this point in his career is going to be the difference maker and really put the team on his back on defense and, be this difference maker that they need him to be. So I'll just be curious to see what happens against the Raiders. I am not confident at this point that they're going to be able to get a win.
Yeah, I don't know if I think I'm going to write them in, pencil them in as a win either. Just kind of going back to what you said about JJ. I don't think, JJ is going to be the saving grace that many think that he will be. I think he's injury prone, and I think he's still not at 100% going back out there on the field. So I'm not expecting much from this football game. Another interesting thing to watch is Chandler Jones will be on the field, Chierstin, but not with the Cardinals, obviously.
Yeah, Kyler will need to watch out.
Yeah, that's to say the least. And if there is anything to say about how you perform against your former team, I'm sure Chandler Jones is walking into that game with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. So I would be a little worried if I was Kyler Murray and his O-line.
Yeah, John Paul Edward de Dios making 2 points here. One, Isaiah is a hybrid. Yeah, he fills a hybrid role. And so I don't know if your point is to say what he's currently doing or what he should be doing. But case in point, it just hasn't been working.
Nope.
I don't think at this point he's really reached his full potential, whether it was previously or in the season opener. And then Isaiah will have a rough game against Waller. Yeah, I mean, he's there to cover tight ends, and you've got Darren Waller, another great tight end that he's going to be going up against on Sunday as well. That's going to be challenging to stop. So yeah, some great points there. There's certainly going to be challenges in this matchup, and right now they're 5-point underdogs on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So it's first road game of the year. in Vegas, and they got a good week of practice under their belt. So now if they go out and they, shit the bed the way that they did in their season opener, they're not going to have.
Wait, hold the phone.
I was going to say, you won't say shitstorm, but you're going to talk about a shit in the bed? What are we doing here?
I don't know.
Curse word?
I woke up feeling a little spicy this morning.
Woke up feeling dangerous?
I don't know what to say. Sean, you better clip that so we have that as video evidence.
Absolutely not.
I'm gonna rip the audio off.
Absolutely not.
I'm gonna rip the audio off and put it here in Ecamm, so whenever she self-censors, I'm gonna just be like, it's just gonna be Chierstin saying shit.
No. That's it. Now that I know that is who I work with, never mind.
Okay, well, Chierstin is upset when she doesn't hold back and drops a shit bomb on the on the show.
You didn't have to phrase it like that. She didn't drop a shit bomb. She just said shit.
Well, that's what it was. It's like the F-bomb, but the S-bomb.
I suppose, yeah.
You're dead. Yeah, you guys are dead to me.
I'm glad they came out and said that they practice well, so no more practice excuses.
And whoever made the comment, we're talking about practice? Yeah, we've been talking about practice all week long, and I cannot ever say that word and not think about that quote. So, yes.
Well, like Chierstin said, the Cardinals, they are 5-point underdogs on the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now, which we all know how Vegas feels about the Cardinals. But if you want to go against what Vegas says, you're more than welcome to do that if you go ahead and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. I don't know where I'm going to be putting my money yet, Chierstin. I haven't decided. I think I need to take a day and sit down and go through the app and see what they've got for me with this Cardinals-Raiders game. But I think the spread at 5 is pretty good. I feel like that's a nice little gift from Vegas if you want to put your money on that. Are you going to be betting on anything this weekend, Chierstin?
Probably betting on the Cardinals to not win this game because I'm not feeling great about it, to be honest with you. I'm just being honest. Like, it's not what I want, but it's what I think is going to happen. And if you agree or disagree with me, but still want to put your money on something, download that DraftKings Sportsbook app now using that promo code PHNX. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. As an added bonus, I think that was for last week. No added bonus this week. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now using that promo code PHNX. Bet on any team to win, and you're going to get free bets for signing up using that promo code PHNX on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions do apply. See show notes for details.
And speaking of the Cardinals game, if you don't have any plans and you're looking for a place to go, boy, do we have good news for you. Come on down to Four Peaks Brewery in Tempe this Sunday, the 18th at 12:30 as the Cardinals take on the Raiders in Las Vegas. We will be at Four Peaks hanging out, watching the game. The tickets are $5, but you get a free beer, and we will also be giving away Cardinals tickets at the game, or at the watch party, sorry. So it's going to be a great time. We're going to be there. We're going to be partying, taking shots, maybe multiple, depending on how this game goes. There will be drink specials, and there is a 220-inch screen for you to watch the game on. So definitely come out to this. Come hang out with us. It's going to be a great time. You can check the link in our description to get your tickets or go to any of our Twitter pages. You must be 21 years or older to drink Four Peaks if you're there, obviously. And please, as always, enjoy responsibly. I'm super excited for this watch party, Chierstin, because at least if things go south, we are surrounded by Four Peaks to make ourselves, and chicken tendies to make ourselves feel better. And that is a silver lining.
We can eat and drink our sorrows away.
We sure can. Oh, all right, Chierstin. I don't know about you, but topics today, they've been a little sad, a little heavy, and I think I need a little levity. So I have to ask you, Chierstin, did you see this? This is where we go around the internet and I show you some things that you may or may not have seen, and we will react and give you our opinions on whatever I have to show you. I don't know why that just took me so long to explain, but it's fine.
We understood. Now. We're picking up what you're putting down.
I took the long way around, but I landed the plane eventually. All right, Chierstin. As we know, he's not near anymore. Oh my God. I just need to get to the point. As we know.
What did you see?
Our beloved Larry Fitzgerald is an analyst on ESPN Monday Night Football, and he took the field to do a little bit of a pregame show with his crew. And they were having a good time out there, obviously on the field. And someone suggests that Larry catch a pass. So, here he is taking his jacket off, mounting to the challenge. He goes out, he takes a couple steps, stutter step, the pass, beautiful, by the way, a spiral dime. And look at this. Larry catches it into the end zone, just like he never retired, because technically he didn't, but he's not playing football anymore. And I don't know about you, Chierstin, but I've seen enough. Get that man back in uniform. Suit up, Fitz.
I'm kind of offended that he would do that in front of Arizona fans.
I know, what a tease.
We're still grieving over here. Did you have to show off like that and show off that you're, I don't know, still a receiver and you catch a pass on an NFL field like that on live TV, nationally televised? I'm offended why you would rub that in our faces, okay?
Oh, yeah. I mean, seeing Fitz back out there, obviously, I'm glad he's doing well and he is still using his talents to be an analyst for ESPN. But damn, that hurt. I was like, oh, Fitz, you could have kept going. You still have time. It just kind of cut a little deep. And obviously, the Cardinals can use all the help that they can get right now. So I don't know about you, but I was having some more flashbacks and I was ready to go and find Fitz myself and have him suit back up to help the Cardinals.
Brian bringing up a point. Larry can't even say poo about the Sarver convo now. WTF. Yeah, I mean, I think when we think about Larry right now, here locally, we're just thinking about his connection to the Suns as a minority owner and somebody who originally came out and defended Robert Sarver. People want to hear him come out and speak. I mean, I think Larry likes to kind of keep the peace. And so I'll be interested to see if he comes out and says something against Sarver, or if he's just like, you know what, I really do not want to get involved in this. But boy, a lot of people would like to see him step up.
Yes, there are a lot of things that we wish to see from Fitz, and that is definitely one of them. Well, I have another thing for you to look at, Chierstin. I don't know if you saw this or not, and I'm maybe guessing that you didn't because I don't think you listened to his music. But the rapper Jack Harlow was in town this past week, and he had a concert here in Phoenix. And if you didn't know, Jack Harlow is a huge sports fan. He loves basketball. He made a cameo in the upcoming, what's that movie with the Space Jam? Yeah, Space Jam. Totally forgot.
I don't know this guy, so I don't know.
Okay, so you probably didn't see it then. Well, he at his concert, he paused for a minute, and he had none other than Devin Booker come up on stage, and DBook took a nice little shot at the basketball hoop that was a part of his set prep, and he drained it, Chierstin, which I will say I'm very glad he did do, because imagine the embarrassment if you are at this concert with Jack Harlow and everybody knows you're Devin Booker and you get up there to take the shot and you whiff it.
Yeah,
it was a pretty good shot. It was from deep. I'm pretty sure that was at least a 3. So I'm glad he showed off a little bit.
There's a lot of pressure there in outside of your normal element of playing the game, to on stage in front of an entire audience of concert goers to drain a shot like that. He could have shot a brick, bounced off the rim into the crowd. How embarrassing was that? I mean, I would be mortified. It's there's no coming back from that. You have to shoot another.
I would have passed away. I would have had to just walk away from basketball at that point. If I'm Devin Booker, who is one of the best shooters in this league, and I've missed, nope, I'm done. I'm going into a hole and I'm not coming out.
I don't care. I would be halt the concert. If it takes me 10 shots, of course we know that it would not take Devin Booker 10 shots to make one. But if it took me 10, I would be no, we're not. I'd have the whole audience involved, counting down 3, 2, 1 before I shot, whatever it was going to take. I would take over the whole concert before I would have to make the shot and redeem myself.
Oh, well, thankfully, Brian Abdallah in the comments saying his girlfriend might have dumped him, LOL. I don't know if Kendall Jenner is that savage. I think there are some many other redeeming qualities of Devin Booker that might have saved him.
I don't think that's a dumpable offense, but yeah.
Yes. All right, Chierstin, one more for you. And unfortunately, I don't have any highlights for you because, I'll just leave it at that. But we do have something to talk about that was awesome yesterday. our friend Drey Jameson made his major league debut for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And boy, was it something else. I'm so fired up about this because I'm so excited about the future of this team. Drey Jameson pitched 7 innings with only 2 hits, not a single earned run, a 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. And Chierstin, oh my God, I am freaking amped about this, if you couldn't tell, because the Babybacks are here. The future of the team is on the way. Things are looking up for the D-backs, and I'm so excited. And this is just one other piece of the puzzle that we needed to fall into place. And I am so excited for him and his major league debut going so well, because I think this is just, like I said, another piece to the Babybacks puzzle.
Yeah, I feel like the Diamondbacks are just hitting on all of these prospects. Every time a new guy is called up, he impresses and he does what he's supposed to do and what we all hope that he would do. I know we were talking about it yesterday. This guy, could potentially be a bullpen guy, like not sure of like how he would do. And, exceeded expectations in my opinion. So it's great to see one baby back after another get brought up and shine on the big stage. And just one more reason that we have to look forward to the future of this franchise.
Yeah, there were so many things to be excited about. His command of the ball, he had upper 98 with his velocity, which is super cool to see. So I love that when we debut pitchers, it's against the San Diego Padres, and the San Diego Padres lose. This is actually the second time this year a pitcher has debuted. Ryan Nelson debuted against the Padres, and he also got the win that day. So I don't know what it is about the Padres, but the Diamondbacks have cursed them with their major league debuts, or their pitchers making their major league debut. But I'm here for it. I love it. I'm so glad for them, and I just can't wait, Chierstin. I'm super excited for this team. They need pitching depth. They have struggled historically with developing pitching. So any sign that things are on the right track when it comes to their pitchers, that's a good sign. I will gladly take it. And I'm really excited about this team because I think the fruit of the labor of this rebuild and the retooling and the heartbreak of the trades like Goldie are all starting to show and to pay off. And the farm system that Hazen built is really starting to come to life, which is really cool to see because it obviously takes a while in baseball to see these kinds of things happen. So congrats to Drey. If you didn't know, we are going to be having his teammate, Jake McCarthy, on the D-Back Show today, live at 2:30 in studio. Jake McCarthy is going to be here, so don't miss that because that is going to be a great interview. Jake McCarthy is a great human being, and he just got to hang out with Campaign at the game a couple of days ago, so I'm sure he'll have lots of funny stories to tell about hanging out with Campaign. But yeah, Chierstin, that's all I got for you. I hope that made you feel a little bit happier.
Yeah, and while we're plugging content with the Diamondback players, if you go check out the story, an episode that dropped on Wednesday that I did with Stone Garrett, another one of those really exciting babybacks that we've gotten the fortunate opportunity to see play and get called up this year. He has a great story of how he made it to the bigs, a story of perseverance, a story of how you're able to make connections when you treat everybody with respect, regardless of what position they have. There's just a lot to learn from his story. And the more we know about these guys' backgrounds, I think the more that we appreciate what they do on the field as well. So if you go to PHNX, The Story, dropped a podcast on Wednesday with Stone Garrett. So I encourage you guys to go check that one out as well.
It is phenomenal. I highly recommend you listen to it. And I'm not just saying that because Chierstin can hear me right now. Well, Chierstin, if you want to get in on some fantasy action, including with baseball, I want to tell you and everybody else, I know you already know this, but it's fine. I want to tell you about the easiest and the most fun way to spice up your sports seasons. It's Underdog Fantasy and their Pick'em game. You can just look for your favorite or your least favorite players, their stats, and you can pick between 2 and 5 for your Pick'em entry and whether you think they'll end up with a higher or lower total than that stat in this week's game. If you get all your picks right, you can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. I love Underdog Fantasy. It has brought an entirely new way of betting on sports, making money off of sports to me, and I'm obsessed with it. The app is so user-friendly. It's really straightforward, and they have games that really just like are easy to understand. I was really intimidated getting into sports betting in general when I first started out, but Underdog Fantasy is like a great blend of fantasy / sports betting that is easy for me to understand. And I am so excited that we are partnered with them because I love using their app, and I really recommend that you guys get into Underdog Fantasy. You can search it in the App Store or click the link in our show notes, and you have to sign up with promo code PHNX, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100, you guys. That is $100 that Underdog is willing to double. That's Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you use promo code PHNX and get in on the action today. And I don't know about you, Chierstin, but I'm in need of some emojis.
For sure. After the week we've had, absolutely. I actually took some last night. Real story. I took some last night and got the best sleep of my life. No joke. I was hanging out with a girlfriend, and I fell asleep on the couch, and she took a bunch of sleeping photos of me. I was out cold. A, because I was tired, and B, because I took an OGs and I just wanted a great night's sleep, and it helped tremendously. I woke up feeling fantastic.
Well, if you want to be like Chierstin and get the best night sleep of your life, you have to go to your local dispensary and pick up some OGs. They have amazing flavored Arizona-made THC scratch gummies. The orange creamsicle flavor is to die for. It is my absolute favorite thing in this entire world. They also have microdose 3 milligram options if you are new to the THC gummy world and just want to dip your toes in the water, which I definitely recommend. Those are also delicious and come in a variety of OGs flavors. And we've also partnered with OGs in the Flavoring Life sweepstakes. One winner will receive 3 bags of OGs, including orange creamsicle, which is my favorite, the tropical flavors, an OGs hat, a PHNX shirt of your choice, and a PHNX annual membership. You can sign up at gophnx.com or click the link in our show notes, and make sure to check out OGs online at ogsbrands.com and on Instagram at ogsbrands. You can also find their products at your local dispensary, like I mentioned, but you must be 21 years or older to purchase. And let me tell you, I'm about to go crack open my bag of OGs right now because I need one. Get the weekend started right, you know?
I'll race you to the kitchen.
Deal. Oh. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode of the Phoenix Sports Podcast. We appreciate you so much, especially all of you in the comments who comment along, tell us what you're thinking. We love to read your comments as we go along as well. If you want to be a part of the PHNX family, go to gophnx.com and sign up for a membership. You can get your first month for only 50 cents or an annual membership, and you get a free t-shirt from the locker. Cody Coyote right here. That's an option for you to get. I highly recommend. He's really cute. But become part of our family. We love you. Hop in our members only Discord. We want to talk with you whenever you want. So cheers to another showdown, another Friday.
Another Friday and another weekend we get to enjoy.
We hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Friday at 12:30. Bye.